See if that works. Let's fucking go.
Welcome to the Mr. Screen channel. The confrontation between Wolverine and the Hulk is one of the most anticipated confrontations in the MCU, since even though Wolverine is notably not as strong as the Green Monster, he is still one of the mutants in terms of resistance and healing factor. What else would be interesting to face the Green Monster? So now I'm going to bring you the story based on the MCU of Hulk vs. Wolverine. Without further ado, let's get to the point, the fury of the Hulk and Wolverine's bloody loss of control. Bruce Banner sat in a small isolated cabin in the Rocky Mountains. He breathed deeply, trying to keep his heart rate under control. He had been away from everything for months, trying to improve his connection with the Hulk. If he could control it, perhaps he could return to the world without being a risk to everyone around him. But that night, something was different. His body was shaking, his eyes were burning intense green, and his mind was being swallowed by a wave of uncontrollable fury. He tried to step back, seek balance, but it was too late. The last thing Bruce heard before losing control was a whisper echoing in his mind. "No more hiding, Banner. Now I'm in charge." Then the explosion happened. The Hulk emerged, bigger and more powerful than ever. His veins pulsed bright green, and his eyes burned like radioactive emeralds. He roared into the heavens and, in a monstrous leap, disappeared into the darkness. Destruction begins. First attack came unexpectedly. A small village in northern Canada was devastated in a matter of minutes. Destroyed houses, crushed cars, bodies buried under the rubble. Authorities had no answers. Who could stop something like this? The Avengers were distant, dismantled after the last conflicts. Doctor Strange was dealing with an interdimensional threat. Black Panther had returned to Wakanda. Thor was in another star system. It was then that a figure emerged from the shadows, reading the headlines of destruction in the old newspapers of a seedy bar. The man lit a cigar, his wild eyes analyzing the images of an uncontrollable Hulk. He gritted his teeth. It was time to act. The meeting. Hulk devastated a forest in northern Alaska. Its roar echoed across the mountains as bears and wolves fled, sensing the approaching threat. But a single man walked toward him, unafraid. Logan. Double quotes. Very well. Big guy. You're trying to get attention, right? The Hulk turned his head slowly, his eyes focusing on the small figure before him. The monster frowned, confused for a moment. Then he remembered. Wolverine. Without hesitation, Hulk roared and charged forward with a colossal punch. Logan jumped at the last second, adamantium claws glinting in the moonlight. The battle had begun. Fury vs. indestructibility fight was brutal from the start. Hulk's first blow crushed a century-old tree next to Logan. Wolverine moved quickly, slashing the monster's arm with his claws. Green blood gushed out, but the Hulk just laughed. "Don't you learn, shorty?" With a single blow, Hulk threw Wolverine against a rock, splitting the stone in half. But Logan was no ordinary man. He stood up, wiped the blood from his lips, and smiled. "Is that all you have?" The fight continued, with Logan using his agility and experience to dodge the Hulk's crushing blows. He pierced the monster's skin repeatedly, but the Green Giant's regeneration was as fast as his. Hulk then grabbed Wolverine by the neck and threw him away. Logan fell into a frozen river, but before he could surface, a giant hand grabbed him by the hair and pulled him out. Hulk lifted him into the air and looked into Logan's eyes. "This time, I will make sure you don't come back." And then, he smashed Wolverine against the ground with brutal force. The awakening of the savage elegant felt his body break in several places. Any other man would have died, but he was no ordinary man. His healing factor was working at full speed, stitching together bones and flesh. And then something happened. A primal fury took hold of him. Logan's eyes glowed golden. His animal instinct took over. He roared like a true predator and lunged at the Hulk, his claws tearing through the monster's flesh again and again. This time, Hulk didn't laugh. He roared in pain and fury, picking up Wolverine and slamming him into a mountain. But Logan recovered in the air and, before falling, dug his claws into the Hulk's shoulders, dripping more green blood onto the snowy ground. The battle intensified, with no winner in sight. The end of the hunt fought for hours, destroying the surrounding landscape. But in the end, they were both exhausted. Wolverine knelt on the ground, breathing heavily, his body covered in slowly healing wounds. Hulk, on the other hand, seemed to start shrinking in size. Then something unexpected happened. The Hulk's face began to change. His eyes lost their fierce shine. And then he spoke in a calmer voice. Logan. Kill me. Wolverine froze, looking at the green giant before him. He saw something different. For the first time, he saw the monster's real suffering. Bruce Banner was there, trying to regain control, but Logan wasn't a killer. He wouldn't kill a man who couldn't defend himself. Sorry, Bruce, he said, stepping back. But that's not my fight. The Hulk fell to his knees, panting. Gradually, his skin began to clear, and Bruce Banner emerged again, naked and shivering from the cold. Thank you, Logan, double quotes were his last words before he passed out. Wolverine looked at the horizon and sighed. Now is the boring part. Carrying you back. Epilogue. The hunt never ends. Days later, Bruce woke up in a hidden facility. He was trapped, surrounded by scientists and government agents. On the other side of the room, sitting in the darkness, was Nick Fury. Banner, we need to talk. Bruce sighed, knowing this was far from over. And somewhere in the shadows, Logan watched, a cigar between his lips. The hunt never ended. Future events caused Bruce Banner to wake up and his Hulk alter ego again dominating his body, defeating all the government's henchmen, and after mass destruction, Logan appears again. Only this time Hulk decided to use Wolverine's own radamantium against the mutant. The fury of the Hulk and the return of Wolverine. The sky was dyed red with the flames that consumed the city. The thunder of explosions and desperate screams echoed through the streets as the Hulk crushed everything around him. Government soldiers tried in vain to contain the beast with high-tech weapons, but nothing seemed to stop the Emerald Monster. In the midst of the chaos, Bruce Banner, buried in the darkness of his own mind, fought to regain control. No, I can't let this happen again. Banner's voice echoed in his consciousness. The Hulk, in his most imposing and brutal form, roared into the sky, grabbing an armored vehicle and hurling it into a military helicopter. The aircraft exploded in mid-air, scattering flaming debris everywhere. Weak Banner. Banner always wanted to stop, but now it's all destruction. The Hulk's guttural voice resonated inside Bruce's mind. Banner's consciousness tried to hold on to any shred of humanity that still existed within the beast. I know you hear me. Hulk, I need you to listen to me. This won't get us anywhere. They'll keep coming after us. We need to flee, not fight. The Hulk just laughed, his eyes blazing with wild fury. To escape? Never. They tried to arrest Hulk. Hulk smashes. At that moment, a shadow jumped out from the smoldering ruins. The sound of extending claws cut through the air. It's time to stop this. Big guy. Logan stood before the green beast, his eyes fierce and full of determination. His body was covered in wounds, still bleeding from the previous battle, but already healing. You again, shorty? I thought I had learned my lesson. Hulk growled. You know, I don't learn, Emerald. I just keep coming back. The Hulk let out a roar, charging at Logan with a devastating punch. Wolverine dodged at the last moment and dug his claws into the creature's arm, tearing the hardened skin. Green blood gushed out, but the Hulk barely felt it. Logan jumped onto the giant's shoulder and tried to dig his claws into his throat, but the Hulk grabbed his body and threw him against a wall. Logan passed through concrete and metal before rising again. You've always been stubborn. Logan, this will end badly for you. If I had $1 for every time I was told that ... Wolverine ran at the monster, his claws glowing as they reflected the surrounding flames, he jumped once again, aiming for the Hulk's chest, but this time, the Emerald Giant was ready. With a swift strike, the Hulk held Logan's wrists in the air, pinning his hands and preventing him from moving. The monster's gaze became a mix of cruel intelligence and murderous fury. You have metal in your body. Strong metal, glad you noticed. Will you let me go now? The Hulk smiled, a frightening smile. No, I'm going to use this stop before Logan could react. Hulk squeezed his wrists with crushing force. The sound of adamantium being forced against one's own flesh echoed in the momentary silence. Wolverine screamed in pain as the Hulk, holding his claws, began to force them back towards Logan's own body. I like watching you bleed, Shorty. The indestructible adamantium slowly pierced Wolverine's flesh, penetrating his own chest. Blood gushed out as Logan tried to resist, but the Hulk's strength was too much. Hang in there, Shorty. Let's see if you come back after this. With a brutal movement, Hulk buried Wolverine's claws even deeper, tearing through vital organs. Logan's body went still, his ice glassy banner, inside the beast's mind, screamed in despair, nitrogen monoxide. You killed him. Hulk looked at Wolverine's blooded body and shrugged. He comes back. It always comes back, but now. Hulk has won, and at that moment, the Hulk's roar of victory echoed across the battlefield as the city he had just destroyed burned in the light of his uncontrollable fury. But something was wrong. Wolverine's body, lying on the ground, began to move. His muscles began to regenerate faster than before, and his once lifeless eyes now glowed an intense red. The Hulk took a step back. What ... Logan's voice came, low but full of hate. My turn, big guy. The battle was far from over. Continue, Sand. That's our story today. What did you think about it? Already explain it in the comments, and don't forget to click the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, bye.